Hello and welcome to another Belmont Middle and High School Building Committee video update. My name is Diane Miller. I'm a member of the Building Committee, and I'm here today with our chair, Bill Lovallo, and with our now former Superintendent, John Phelan. John is also a member of the Building Committee and has been since the very beginning back in 2016, 7.5 years ago. It's been quite a journey, and we are standing here today in the now finished middle school space. So very exciting, especially for these two gentlemen who really poured their hearts into this project over the past 7.5 years. So we are in a completed space, and today is the first day that middle school teachers are moving in to their classrooms. And so there's a lot of excitement going on and maybe even some background noise while we're filming this. But it's all very exciting. And today we are going to be talking about the middle schoolers starting and what that is going to look like for this school year. And then also going forward in the upcoming years, what's next for the rest of the district. So before we get into all of that, I think it makes sense to start off talking about the vision, because way back in 2016, we started out with a high school. We were going to build 9 through 12, right? And then it kind of morphed into a middle and high school, starting with 7th grade. So maybe, Bill, you can walk us through how we got there?
Certainly. So Belmont was excited in 2016 to be brought into the grant program with the MSBA, our partner, the state agency that's partially funding the design and construction of this project. And to them and to us, it was a 9 through 12 school. Here we're standing in a 7 through 12 school. Great solution, but we knew early on that there were challenges within the district, student population growth and so forth. So John, this is where you came in with your leadership skills and starting to realize that let's take this, can we take this project? First question to MSBA, can we take this project and make it into something different? How did that conversation go?
So the conversation went great. The MSBA was a great partner for the town of Belmont, working with the state to get reimbursement for some different options that we explored for the town. If you can remember, in 2016, our enrollment was burgeoning at every level of the district. And the town was really pressed on trying to come up with a creative idea that could rearrange and reorganize and reconfigure the district to support all levels of the district, not just the high school. So the town, very thankfully to the creativity of people like Bill and others in the state, allowed us to make a 7 through 12 building that was really unique. We really did a great job of negotiating and talking and letting them know what we needed. Before we did that with the MSBA, we went to the community. We asked the community, how could we use this building differently? What would be great for the town to have? And we evaluated every grade level of the district. What do we need at the K-5 level? What do we need at the middle school level? We looked at different models. We looked at 9 through 12, 8 through 12, 7 through 12. We even talked about an integrated preschool here in this building. All was intentfully thought about in order to make this an efficient project for the town, for the taxpayer, and also to organize the school district in a very unique way. Having a 7 through 12 school at the end of the day is really a great model. It's almost a private school model that folks like to really look at and see how this can be effective for students. And so after all that work with the community educators in the committee, the 7 through 12 model was chosen, and it was a great choice by the town.
And reinforcing this, that the state committed to the same funding rate for the 6th grades versus the 4 grades. So we ended up with more from the state for a larger school, obviously, but the taxpayer burden stayed at the same percentage.
It was interesting because there were several towns going through same models when we went through it here in Belmont that are close to us, and their buildings cost the same amount for a 9 through 12 school as ours did for a 7 through 12 school. So talk about efficiency and effectiveness in the use of good taxpayer dollars and state dollars to get the best bang for the buck, and I think Belmont really achieved that with the 7 through 12 school.
That's great. And I know we've talked about this before, but I think it might be important enough to touch on again, but maybe you can walk us through what that model looks like, having 7th and 8th graders in the same building as the high school, how they are separated, what the benefits are of having these two programs in this one large space.
Absolutely. So when we talked about this, the first group we wanted to talk to are our families, our parents, and the community. how's it going to work with my child who's in 7th grade going to school with someone who's in 11th grade? And that whole careful separations, we built a middle school that has teams, which we'll be able to see later on, team areas where your child will go into a school of 2,200 students and then into a school of only 675, 700 students, and then they'll go into a floor that's all their own. So if I'm a 7th grader, I might be walking into a larger building of 2,200, but after about 8 o'clock, I'm in a space with only 100 students, my 4 teachers, and I'll stay there for 5/7 of my day. I'll go out for physical education, I might go out for art, but for the majority of my day, I'm right here in my middle school and right here in my own grade, and then again right here in my own pod of 100. So we're really talking about creating small learning environments for our middle school students, and that's exactly what we did. On the other side of the building is a completely beautiful 9 through 12 building, which the community has already seen. That's a traditional high school. So we're doing those 2 educational models in the same building with the same expectation around how we service middle school students a little differently than we do with high school students. The second group are our directors and our educators. How exciting it is to build transitions in the same building for our academic directors to make sure that 7th grade English or 7th grade math can be connected 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, having all the educators in one space, thinking about the students and really creating a beautiful bridge that used to be a hard bridge to travel when you were going from 8th grade to 9th grade. Now that bridge is all in this building. So academically, socially, the gains are enormous for our children, and that was what it was all about.
And there are careful separations, though, within this. You were talking about, we're standing in their own library, essentially, Learning Resource Center. They have their own administration, their own entrance,
Right.
their own nurses suite, their own bathrooms.
Correct.
What else? I'm missing so much. They have their own band area, their own art area.
Right.
They have their own lockers within.
And it really does feel very different in this space too. It feels more like a middle school. It feels smaller. It feels more intimate, more cozy.
Yeah.
But as John said, they're still connected.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? They have their own place to eat in the cafeteria, their own place of gathering, their own stair where they're circulating throughout the school.
Correct. It is the model of having 2 schools within one building that really have different functions for different age groups who are different learners. All the separations, the careful separations have been really thought of. And I think you'll see the administrative teams and the educators really shepherd the students through the school on a regular day in a way that creates those careful connections academically, but those thoughtful separations in terms of making sure that our age group of students remain separated for the majority of the day.
And the district has done a lot of work leading up to this moment in terms of preparing for this transition and putting together a whole transition team and actually establishing a dedicated position for that, right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We were really fortunate that the school committee dedicated funds last school year to hire Carla Cosa, who was our former Chenery Middle School principal, to shepherd this process, work directly with and liaison with the building committee, the construction company, the design team, the architect, and the project owner manager, to really make sure that everything was in place for this middle school move. That also included her interfacing directly with her former staff at the middle school, connecting with them, getting them ready for the move, the physical move, but also from the curriculum standpoint, and the emotional standpoint of having that be the last Chenery 8th grade, moving all the students and families over. So there has been a lot of work done from a curriculum standpoint, an organizational standpoint, and also just a building committee and school department interface standpoint to be here today where this building is completed on time, on budget, and ready for September of 2023.
And so the 7th graders are coming here in a few days, and for this year, Chenery is only going to have then the 5th and 6th graders this year. But maybe we can talk a little bit about what is next in terms of other district-wide transitions.
Well, I wanted to layer on before we go there one thing. What is it going to be like now with 2,200 students coming from both sides, 9 through 12 and 7 and 8? What is that going to look like? I know Carla and you have been working on that, messaging to the community. I've seen some of those, but just a quick outline, because that's been so much of people's, how do I get to school? What am I dropping? I have 2 kids. How does that work?
Sure. So Isaac Taylor and Russ Cooperstein, the middle and high school principals, sent out their first communication in July, outlining that we can now access this point from both ends of the campus, which helps the traffic flow. There's a road that goes behind the school that allows for all of this traffic to flow smoothly. We have circles in front of each entrance of the building that students can use for bus drop-off and pickup, and that families can use in the morning. and we'll have folks be able to queue up on the campus itself. We have changed the direction of Underwood the opposite way, so now when you come out of the campus, on the east side of the campus, you can take a right and go right up Underwood towards Concord. The select board voted that change in late June. It really provides a nice flow of traffic around the perimeter of the campus. And keep in mind that on the campus, there are plenty of available walking and biking spaces. So once your child gets on campus, their walking has sidewalks through the campus, around the perimeter of the campus, plenty of bike racks for all of our
Oh
students who
my,
want to
did I
ride the
see,
bikes.
so I walked in a lot of bike racks.
And so
Yes,
we learned.
we needed them.
Yes,
Last year we had
right.
so many kids biking, which was fabulous. Keep it up, right?
So
Great.
we learned a lot for the 2 years of the high school. Biking is important. Our students were biking at high levels. We want to encourage that. Our students can park on Concord Ave. The staff will park in the lot. And we really feel we have a plan. The final plan will be communicated to the public on August 18th, which was last week. And they should have that in their email boxes by this filming.
And there's also, when middle schoolers come in, they're not mixed with the high schoolers. They have their own place to gather. They're
Correct.
until they could go up to class. So they're just all thought through.
We are going to have breakfast for everybody in the morning, free breakfast and free lunch. And the day starts with our middle schoolers coming in their side of the cafeteria, having breakfast, having somewhere to go if it's raining, and then they'll all be asked to go up to their homeroom. So there'll be a 15-minute period where they have their own time before school. They'll be able to get something to eat. And I encourage parents, there's nothing better than a student that can walk or bike to school, get a good breakfast to start their day, and then be up in homeroom by 7:55 a.m. It'll be a great start, and they are separated from the high school, 2 separate entrances. The students will come in at different spaces.
So now
Great.
what happened?
So
Right, I
now,
wanted to get that-
Chenery
yeah.
and beyond.
So Chenery and beyond, the next part of this process has really already started. We've been meeting with 4th and 5th grade staff and 4th and 5th grade parents through the 2022-23 school year. This committee met, we call it the Q Committee, started meeting, it was a group of parents that was led by
I'm going to interrupt you
Colin
because I had to ask this the other day.
Yeah.
Q, which is C-U-E,
right.
Chenery Upper Elementary.
That's correct.
So
I
that building is
apologize.
now what they are calling the Q. I think Jamie had mentioned that, and I'm like, what's the Q?
So, yep, that's correct. The Q is the Chenery Upper Elementary School, and that it will be an upper elementary school. We've met with the staff in one committee work. We've met with the families in one committee work, both led by Carla Cosa, to really talk about the values and the culture and climate that we want to make sure we have in that building. This year it will be a 5-6 school only, and we'll have that group happen for the 23-24 school year, and we'll introduce 4th graders to that. So next summer there'll be a big transition in the district. It won't be a construction transition, it'll be an educational transition, but we want to really emphasize that the 4-5-6 Q school will be built and modeled around an elementary school model that's already been discussed with some families in the committee and educators, and will truly be an upper elementary school. We want to keep those students young.
They're young.
We really want to make sure that that 6th grader, who we think has more in common with a 4th and 5th grader, and less in common with a 7th and 8th grader, really has their chance to be a 12-year-old at heart, be an upper elementary school student at heart. And we feel like there's a good chance for them to grow up a little more here when they're in 7 through 12, but let's keep them young in that 4, 5, 6 school. So we've gotten some good family feedback, community feedback, and educator feedback. That work will continue with the new superintendent, Dr. Joe Geiser, and we look forward to seeing how that goes through the school year as well.
Well, John, and you could tell, Diane, John's been the leader in all of these discussions, and I can't thank you enough for positioning Belmont for the next generation and leadership in the way we have our children first in the district, right? And everything we're doing is to make things better for them. 9+ years in Belmont with your stamp on it, John. I can't thank you enough. You've been a great partner. I wish you all the best in your retirement. As you said, we have a new superintendent, but you left your mark on Belmont, so thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
I can't thank the town enough, the educators, all the people that volunteer for committees like the building committee and the warrant committee and school committee and select board. As I said many times, Belmont is the town of homes, but it's really the town of volunteers. This town runs on the community getting involved, doing positive things in the community, and the schools have benefited greatly by the leadership of you and Pat, Bill, on the building committee, and folks like you, Diane, who volunteer. But I think the town is very well structured for the next 50 years, and we're excited for the children and the community of Belmont, and nothing but good things moving forward.
And John, we're going to invite you back for the next few years just to see what that queue looks like. And how the emphasis is all
be
you're
great.
for me. You're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah. So
I think
we're
the
gonna
Q,
miss you.
this beautiful building is beautiful, but I think that 4, 5, 6 school
That
could be the
sounds
best
like
place
fun.
to work. It'll be a lot of fun to work.
Right.
The good for the parents, good for the students, and again, very thankful to our educators as well. So thank you both very much for your 7.5 years of volunteering while we made this go from concept to the building that we stand in right now. So thank you.
Wonderful, and also thank you to our viewers. We are going to have another video update coming soon. Next up, we're going to be outside on the playing fields. I think that will be another
be fun.
exciting conversation.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. This has been a Belmont Middle and High School video update.